This is Christian from Hertz Trade Group, and this is your end of day market recap for Monday, September 29th. We have, after today, we have just one more day left to go for trading in September. Risk disclaimer in front of you. Everything that we're going through, of course, is for information purposes only, not giving you any advice or recommendations. Yes, so one more day of the month and the quarter, and then we are on to quarter number 4 for this year. We're actually running a special at Tribeca Trade Group, and we're bundling the indicator that you see on my screens all the time. That's the MarketWebs, which we do allow you to go ahead and try that out yourself. That's the special that you'll get both. You'll get the trading room, so where I walk through all those setups daily in terms of MarketWebs and breakouts using multiple time frame, volume at price, all of those principles. So I go through that on a daily basis for you, and I think it's a great way to try that out to get 3 months for the price of one. I know that link is kind of long. You can also find that on my Twitter page, as I tweeted that out about midday today, and I'll tweet that out again. So for today, so first of all, before we kind of go over today's price action, I would just remind you that tomorrow is quarter end. It's one of the weakest days historically of the year. Jeffrey Hirsch, Almanac Trader, tweeted some stats out about this. Portfolio rebalancing can pressure the market on the last trading day of quarter 3. S&P has the weakest record, positive just 39% of the time, with an average loss of 7 basis points to the downside. So that's not really a big move to the downside, but maybe you get something like today, where you had kind of a gap up today, and then you kind of had a little bit of a sell, and then maybe we finished down for the day, because 7 basis points is not a big move. But reminder that we can get all kinds of intraday moves, kind of like today. Today was one of those situations where we had one of those gap ups, and in my opinion, it's kind of tough to stay disciplined. If you had positions on from last week, like I did, you were probably looking to fade some of today's move a little bit in the beginning of the day, and some of those names, I think, of the high momentum, high growth, some of them did quite well today, but others just kind of faded the whole day. I'll kind of compare and contrast some of those names for you. But gap ups are always difficult, and I think the way that we were kind of rallying into the open today, it just is inviting some selling, to do. So let's see. Broadcom announces 5 billion senior notes. That's a name that I'm long, so I'm just reading that. But in terms of best performing groups that you had today, Bitcoin very strong today. Bitcoin was up 4.9%. That's been, the cryptos have been underperforming, so they got a nice move up. Interesting, they were up about the same amount as what the VIX. The VIX was also up another 5.5%. Now, again, we're coming from a low level in the VIX, but again, a little bit odd to see the VIX up that much today, given that all the indices closed in the green. So again, we've been seeing these diversifications from time to time. But that was your best group. Gold, to a lesser extent, gold was up 1.7%. I got long gold again last week. I took profits in the beginning of last week in gold, and I bought and I rebought that on a very tiny dip last week. So gold miners did very well. China names did well. Biotech, which had had some M&A activity over the weekend, that did well. XME, metals and mining, one of your market leaders, was at 1.4%. What didn't do well today? Well, energy, which was the best performing group last week, or sector last week, definitely took a breather today. Crude was down today, and XOP was down 2.8%. XLE was down 1.8% as well. So that took a breather. Also, what else was down for the day? Banks were a little bit of an underperformer for the day too, even though those are your bigger financials, but certainly there was some strength in the online brokers. Robinhood new closing high. So let's talk a little bit about some of the outperformers for the day, and I also will talk about some of some of my trades as well and how I traded the day. But I'm going to start just with the SPY chart. One of the things that I came into watching from the weekend was whether or not price was going to regain that 5-day moving average. We did. Again, not the strongest candle in the world, not the strongest price action for the day. I do have a level to watch in SPY because we kind of started. Here is the gap up and right into some resistance there for SPY. So the level to watch, and this is on my morning note, 665.18. Again, a little bit of a fade once we got to like the what's into the open a little bit, and then the 11 o'clock hour is where we came down. But I don't think that this is to start off with. I think tomorrow, because of the end of month, end of quarter, and the pension rebalancing could be weak. But overall, I think the dips remain shallow. Last week was only down. Qs and IWM were only down 1%. So at some point we could get some more weakness. We'll see. I think tomorrow could be a trading opportunity with like 0-day options. And but that'll be kind of the last 20 minutes or so of the day. I'll be looking to kind of maybe play that end of day, end of quarter. End of month, end of quarter day. That could be sometimes it gets very. You'll see larger than normal moves in the last 20 minutes of the day on quarter end. So that's where 0-day options kind of come into play for that type of thing. If there's going to be an outside move, I think that's the way to play it. So that's what we've got on tap. A reminder that we do have jobs data on Friday, which will be the big economics. The Qs outperformed just because they gapped up the most this morning. They were a little bit stronger than the S&P, and they were a little bit stronger too than the S&P. Finished up 0.5%. Also got above that 5-day moving average. This one actually we did get above the value area for the week. Different there than the S&P, and we're kind of coming back in. Notice that we checked back in the last hour of the day down to 597.75, and that'll be the support to watch. So we've got our resistance to watch in the S&P, and we've got our support to watch. IWM acted different for the day. As soon as we got to the open today, IWM just completely sold off, and today's breadth was not particularly strong. It did finish okay and finish better than the lowest levels of the day, but the NYSE up volume was about 52% today, and the weak IWM kind of contributed to that. Notice as well, this is inside the value area for the week, and also resting right on that 5-day moving average. All right, so there's your technicals there. I mentioned Robinhood made a new high today. Right? They announced that just the volume that they are seeing in terms of the prediction markets, unbelievable. And that's a great looking candle, up 12%. I've been long Robinhood one way or another for the better part of a year. This is long in the TTG trend portfolio. Unfortunately, I don't have anything on in my trading account right now, but really nice move, up 12%. And this is kind of I was talking to somebody before about Robinhood. This is a just great stock to trade. Dips continue to get bought. I continue to see other people look for other names in the space. One name that gets mentioned a lot is Webull. I don't really understand why people continue to look at that name. I know it gets pumped on social media a lot, but I don't have a fundamental reason really to kind of go into that name over Robinhood. Robinhood, as I've been saying now for the last 6 months, because I see Webull, every couple of weeks it gets the social media pumpers will kind of heighten that and try to get the name going a little bit. But I don't really have a fundamental reason. And if you do, right, if you think, give me a competitive reason why you would want to go in Webull over a Robinhood or IBKR or any of these other names too. Are they number one? Are they growing faster than Robinhood or some of the other brokers? I don't think so. So therefore, why trade it, guys? Again, other than social media pumpers, I don't have a reason. And there's nothing I'm not shorted or anything like that. But look at what IBKR did today. It was up 4%. This is a really nice chart and new highs. And these continue to kind of make new highs, come in a little bit, make new highs. Webull is going to need more social media pumpers. So again, I'm not trying to be really negative to this. If you are looking for a breakout because it's going to get pumped more, watch 1588. That would be your level for a break above the value area for the month. But regardless, very, very strong. Another group that's been strong and remains strong is these little power companies that kind of switched their model for Bitcoin mining and using different energy sources. And IREN was up another 7%. CFIR, which I would not neglect this name either, had a nice bounce today, was up 10% today. So very nice, very strong. WULF is another name in the space that continues to act pretty well, and the dips are getting bought here. And WULF has not taken last week's highs out, but I would watch this 1150, right around 1150, 1160, and if that can get taken out, look for a move up to 1288. A couple other pockets of strength. Western Digital, right, and these memory chip companies. Look at this thing. Was up 9%. It was up more than that at one point today. So again, on a day where a lot of names kind of faded, these names really did not. And again, these are just the themes that are doing really well. This is what Western Digital. Seagate also closed right at those previous highs, but up 5%. And SanDisk also. Look at the move in SanDisk today, up 16%. And by the way, look at the volume that's been taking place in this SanDisk. Unbelievable. Small dip and it gets bought, just like IREN. Here is a group that I think is finally kind of succumbing a little bit. We've seen a lot of put activity in some of the quantum names. IONQ was down 4.5% today. RGTI was also looks a bit toppy, and maybe this comes down. Where I would be looking for this, and again, I don't think I'm going to get this, but it's something that I would kind of be watching is for a move down to the 20-day moving average, right? That would kind of interest me. BE, I think, made that move last week down to the 20-day moving average and held. It also did get above the 5-day moving average. It didn't, most of the gains happened in the first 10 minutes of the day, and then it kind of faded a bit. But still, it was such a big move that this name made. It's going to be some of these names. It is tough for these names to come right back. Just a few other names that I had my eye on today, but just didn't look good. And again, like this is the case too, where thank goodness, like I said to myself, like, don't chase these guys. All of these names were up about 4% today. They opened up 4%. ALAB was up one of them. It gave the whole thing back today. It did finish in the green, up about 0.5%, but not such a great candle. Also, CRDO finished up 2%, but again, maybe just has a little bit too far to get back to that the 20-day moving average. This was another one that was up about 5%, 6% today. Very tricky, a lot of traps. Right? And very tough when you see something like this. Bid up pre-market. If you bought it pre-market, you were able to kind of cash in, right in the 15 minutes, but very difficult to deal with something like this. So more, like I said, a lot of those names in high growth. Just a couple other things that I was going to bring up too. I like this Celsius after the dip. I tweeted about that on Sunday morning, maybe. Nice move back above the 20-day moving average. Also, XLU saw a big call block, and that continues to grind. This was on Friday, saw a big call. So again, like something a little bit, in the short term, a little bit more conservative. I mentioned GLD as well, which made a new high today, and I sold some of this. Tesla was one of those names in the bucket of was a fader today. Again, I was long this coming into today. I was lucky to hit 450 on this right around the highs of the day. It took some profits, and that's how this name has kind of been trading: is to sell the rips a little bit and then reposition a little bit into the dips. So that's what we have on our hands. I think that the market, we have to get through tomorrow, but hey, tomorrow could provide some good trading opportunities. So that's it for today's video, guys. Have a great night. See you tomorrow.